Good morning and welcome to another Writer's Morning Commute with Ashton Gaskill. Finished up my discussion last week of writing my first draft of a story. So after that, of course, comes the editing. I think out of all these stages of writing, editing has to be my least favorite. Like, just the fact that there seems like there's always something else to edit. No matter how much time I spend working on the editing, you know, there's always something else someone points out, and you have to go back and polish that up. I'm going to try not to complain too much here, but suffice to say, not my favorite out of the outlining, writing, editing trifecta of overall stages. Or pre-writing, writing, post-writing, maybe. Anyways, how I approach editing. We are getting to the point in this process where my personal method is a little less refined. I haven't, I've outlined more books than I've written more books than I've finished, and I've finished more books than I've edited. And I've edited more books than I've, sent off to beta readers for the next video. So some of this is a little bit more in flux. But when I finish my first draft, I don't remember if I mentioned this in the first draft video or not, but I immediately go back and add in non-visual sensory details, and that's, smells, sounds, textures, that type of thing. And I try to go for 10% of my target word count for the chapter, final target word count. So if it's a 1,000 word scene, I'll write in 100 words of non-visual sensory details. And that's not necessarily just the non-visual sensory details, that's all the words around it to, make it into complete sentences or to tie it into, basically I'm just trying to add in as much detail by adding no more than 100 words, no more than 10% to the document. And then I also do a similar thing, the same amount of words, so another 100 words if it's a 1,000 word scene of internalization, of thought, of emotion, of showing emotion, emotional reactions. So instead of just saying, anger burned within him, you can, show him clutching his fist and grinding his teeth or whatever. I have, I'm not going to remember the author's names because it's, I don't want to get it wrong, but the Emotional Thesaurus is an excellent tool for that. So once I have those things done, it's kind of like having a second draft done already. I've gone through, and while I'm doing those two things, I'm also looking for typos. But what I do from there is I have this, all of my individual scenes in their own Word document. And I'll take them and I transfer it to the Draft 2 document, which is by chapter. So I put Scene 1 and Scene 2 into Chapter 1. I put Scene 3 and Scene 4 in Chapter 2, so on and so forth. I then take those chapters and I will copy them all over to Google Docs so I can make comments easily. I know Microsoft Word has a comment function, but I honestly don't know how to use it, and I like Google Docs' layout better for editing, and I also like that putting it into a different layout with different font just kind of helps you see it differently, and it helps you edit it by seeing it freshly. So I put into Google Docs, and I will search for my list of filter words and weasel words, which is a bunch of words that I try to cut down on as much as possible. I don't necessarily try to eliminate them all, but I feel like most writing is improved if you trim those down. I also let's see, what else? From there, I will copy it over one chapter at a time to HemingwayApp.com, which is an online tool that will point out where you use passive voice. It points out all of your adverb usage. And I don't try to eliminate all of those, but I do say, okay, I use passive voice here. Would it be better if I rewrote this to be active voice? Okay, I use an adverb here. Can I rewrite this using a better verb instead of this adverb-verb pair to better effect? So I just use it as a challenge to my writing. I don't use it as gospel. I put it back into the Google Docs, and then once I have all that done, I go through, I'll read it for pacing, see if I can find any more typos, that kind of thing. And then I trim it down to its target word count. Try to get it as close as possible. Don't underestimate the power of running a simple Microsoft Word spell check. So many times I've just not seen that little red line underlining misspelled words. And also Google Docs has a different algorithm for their spell check, and it will catch different things. So try to use different spell checks, different systems to really make the most of your technology alpha read, I guess. Your computer alpha read. And that's pretty much my editing process currently. So thank you for writing with me. Hopefully that gives you some ideas that you can use in your own writing. Have a great day.